Shalom, shalom, shalom. Good evening, everybody. Tonight, we have a good show for tonight. We're going to get straight into it. If everybody can hear me loud and clear, I'm going ahead and put a one in the chat, put a one in the comments. Everybody can hear me loud and clear. Tonight, we're going to talk about the top three reasons owner operators lost money in 2025 and freight dispatchers as well. Let's fix this camera. Uh, Top three reasons why owner operators lost money in 2025 or even failed in 2025. Once again, we're going to focus more so on the owner operators for tonight, but freight dispatchers can glean from this and take advice from this as well, because as we all know, freight dispatchers help owner operators with their business and help them make money as well. And if they don't help owner operators make their money, then they won't make money as a freight dispatcher either. Okay. So we're gonna also go over market predictions for 2026, my own personal predictions as well. And then we're gonna go into some things that owner operators and freight dispatchers should implement in their 2026 plan, excuse me, in 2026 to help them uh, grow their business, prosper in their business, and do great and don't go out of business, of course. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start off with the top reason that I've seen. I've worked with a lot of owner operators myself that lease on with me as a company. I am owner operator as well. I have three trucks currently. We downsized a little bit. So once again, I have a lot of owner operators in my school group. If you would like to join the school group, it is totally free. Starting Started on the first. I have a link in the description or pin a link in the comments. You can just hit the link and join. Once again, totally free for you. You can come into the community. A lot of people put a lot of comments in the videos and they ask me questions, and it's very hard for me to get to those questions and answer those questions thoroughly But if you come into the community tab, post a question, I will be sure to get to those questions. We do live Q&As once a week on Sundays, by video and audio. You can come on there. You can ask all the questions you would like. You can, present your business. We will analyze your business, and we will not get off the call until all of your questions is answered. So, with that being said, let's keep going with the topic for tonight. So, once again, top three reasons. We're going to go into reason number one. The top three reasons that I have seen time and time again, not only in 2025, but for years. I've seen this. This is the mistake that I've made. I personally made myself, but also I see this all the time, which is going to be operating costs is way too high. When I say way too high, just way too high. I'm seeing, you know, on operators getting trucks that's costing them, two, three, $4,000 a month. Seeing them getting trailers for 1,000, 1,500 to 2,500, 3,000, sometimes higher than that a month, depending on if they, dealing with some specialized trailers or not. I'm seeing their insurance is way too high. I'm seeing their maintenance is way, way, way too high, right? Um, let's see if we can, go into the board. Actually, let's see if we can do this right quick. Add this to the stage. Listen, if you have, if you're only, let's say that you are, let me put this to the side. Okay, let's say that you are running a flatbed or a step deck, right? And you're running for about, on average right now, you're running about 2,500 to three, well, let's say 2,000, because a lot of guys, they're not running like that. They're not running like that. So let's just keep it real. 2,000 to 2,500 miles a week, right? Okay. With that being said, and then you're running for about, on average, $2.50. That's about what the market is holding right now, to $2.70 a mile, right? Okay, so on the high side, you're gonna be 2,500 miles times 2.7. That's $6,070, right? So that's 6,750. Sorry about that. Okay, gross profit. All right, let's put that over there. Okay, so we got $6,750 on a gross profit, right? Then we have automatically, we're gonna start taking out all of the expenses. So you're gonna have about, let's say 10% on the 10 to 20% on the lease fee. So let's put it in the middle at 6,750, subtract 15%, right? That's gonna be 1,000, right? $1,012.05. Then you have another, let's say 300, 300 for the insurance. Then you have another 300 for the trailer, because a lot of people don't have trailers that they own or anything like that. And even if they put in, they financed it, that's, they're gonna be paying about that anyway. And then you have another about, let's say, 400 for the truck note, right? And then you have another for the if you're just getting started, you have RP for your license plate. So you have about mm, let's just say 150 a week. Now this is no maintenance, right? Let's say in maintenance, you do average of 10 cents a mile. So you put into the side about $250 a week. All right. So if you add all that together, you do 1,012 plus 300 plus another 300 plus 400 plus 150 plus 250. I guess I should have wrote it out what each thing was for. You have a total of 2,412. That's your expenses. Okay. All right. So now you have, let's go back here, 6,750 subtract 2,412. You have a net profit of 4,038. That's where you want to be. All right. Because remember, if you're owner operator, you're driving this truck yourself. So that means if you're paying yourself, you know, 27 to 30, a lot of people are going to probably pay themselves 30%, right? 6,750 times 30%. Well, you got to take 2,000 out of that just to pay yourself, right? 2,025, right? Just to pay yourself. Okay. So what do you have left? 4338 subtract 2,025. Well, you have 2,313. Okay. All right. That's net after expenses, which after driver as well. Expenses and driver pay. Okay. Now, let's say your truck note is not 400, right? A week. Let's say this truck note is going up. Let's say you have like a $3,000 truck note, right? A month. And you divide that by 4 weeks, that's 750. All right. So you have another 350 you're gonna take out of this 2313. Because remember, you're still gonna pay yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So then let's say you go up, you lease on somewhere and they want to, you know, take out instead of 15% here, they want to take out 20 to 25%, right? Let's say your insurance is cost you 2,500 a month, right? Well, that 300 is gonna change to 625 a week. You see how these things can just rack up and just kill this bottom line? So I'm seeing a lot of owner operators, they are just over their head in expenses. And this is the number one way why they are running out of business. Okay. So you want to stay, what I'm seeing is you want to stay around this uh 2000. You want to get as close as to 2000 a week. Okay. Nothing over 2000 a week in expenses. if possible. Weekly operating costs. That's what you want to stay around. Uh, you want to stay around that. You want to stay as close as around $2,000 a week. If you're an owner operator, especially if you're a new owner operator. And once again, this is in the open deck range where you're running between that 250 to 270 a mile. All right. If you're driving, may the most high help you. I'm not even gonna go into that because right now, yes, you're making some decent money because of the holidays and all of that. I really don't even I pay attention to it around the holidays just because sometimes me and my guys will switch over to that, to the uh uh um drive ins and reefers just to make some money because open deck slows down. But other than that, we don't swap over, right? But these are flatbed and step deck rates right now. Like it or love it, it is what it is. This is what it is. So you definitely want to make sure that your operating cost is as low as possible. So if you are just coming in the game, make sure that you try to get it around this $2,000 max weekly operating cost, whether you go to, and that's including the lease fee, right? You want to stay around that 2,500 max. You don't want to go over that. All right. Now, the next thing is that and if are a freight dispatcher, of course, the operating costs for doing these type, working with on operators is minimum. So there's really nothing, you shouldn't have nothing but some internet, a phone bill, and a load board. Other than that, you shouldn't be dealing with much of anything else. So like let's get into the next thing, all right? The next thing is we're gonna get off of this load board of this board. The next thing is this. What I'm seeing is expectations versus output expectations is very high for the market, but yet output is very, very low. Expectations is very, very high for your business, but your output and what you're willing to do is way too low. Expectations is very high for the reward you're looking to get in your business, but your output is very low. Okay. Let me give an example of what's this looking like and what I'm seeing, what I've been seeing for years. It's funny how the things that I'm seeing and I've seen over the years is the exact thing in 2025 while a lot of people didn't make it. Okay. A lot of people went out of business, they lost their trucks. Some people lost their families, right? They let this business, consume them and go down the drain and they just, lost everything, so to say, right? Let me show you why. I know a lot of owner operators in the open deck industry. Once again, I don't really go over the dry van and reefer market, but in the open deck industry, in the flatbed market, in the step deck market, or in specialized freight, right? And one of the things that they do not do is they do not like to tarp, which is crazy. They don't like to tarp. They don't like to run the road. They don't like to sleep in their truck. They don't like to work on their truck when it comes to simple things. They don't like that. When I say simple things, like there's some things like changing lights, making sure the tires are aired up, maybe changing the radiator hose, just simple things like that. How does that hurt you when it comes down to making money? Well, let's say you're not taking care of your tires like you're supposed to, and you're not airing the tires up. You hitting them, and they're not. You don't think that they're flat, or you're not really checking them. Now you pull over to the weigh scale, you get an inspection. What happens? It's under 50, 60 pounds. DOT wise, that's considered a flat. Now you get a bad DOT inspection. If you're leased on, now you have to pay a $300 to $500 a fee for getting a negative inspection. Now it's on your record. Now it held you back from going pick up the load on time, and that's an inspection on your record, on your license if you're driving a truck, which you are because you're on operator, right? And if you're under your own authority, guess what? That's an inspection, a bad inspection on your authority. So now when it's time to go get loads, that's gonna hurt you, right? I know a lot of guys go through this. They do not want to take care of their truck. Another thing, they have a lot of, especially pulling an RGN, they have a lot of tarp loads, a lot of tarp loads. And these tarp loads pay very, very good. Very, very good. When I say very good, I just looked at a load, excuse me, I just looked at a load in Georgia, and this load was going 200 miles, and it had three pieces, but it needed to be tarped, and it was over the week of Christmas. Okay, it wasn't going to be the day of Christmas. I don't even think it was going to be. Actually, it was a week of New Year's, I believe. It wasn't going to be for New Year's Day or whatever. Like, and if it was, who cares, right? But it needed to be tarped. It needed to be picked up at the port, go 200 miles at the port of Savannah, picked up, go 200 miles, but it needed to be tarped, fully tarped. This load was going 200 miles. Yes, it was oversized. It wasn't nothing crazy. It was only, I think it was less than 11 foot wide. Um, Nothing crazy tall. You didn't need no escorts, no height pole, none of that. Just a permit, roll and go. The permit probably wasn't going to be number about $20, $30 because it was in the state of Georgia. And that was it. This load paid was on the load board for $3,400. You hear me? It was going less than 200 miles. All right. It started out at $2,500. Then it raised up to 28. Then it raised up to 3,000. I said, man, this load is gonna go at least for 4 grand because number one, it's the week of New Year's. Number two, it's tarps. Nobody want a tarp, and nobody has a lot of tarps anyway. And nobody wants to stay in a truck for New Year's. Just because it was New Year's, it probably was gonna do something crazy, like, hey, you gotta load it, tarp it, do everything, which couldn't probably run it the day before and the day of New Year's. Who cares? Um, I would have got that load if I wasn't already under a load going to Texas. I would have got that load for at least 4 grand minimum. That would have been an entire week. That's like literally that one load going 200 miles. You put about, 100, $150 in the fuel tank. You spend your little $30, 30, 40, $50 on a permit, and you're good to go, right? You got a $4,000 load. A lot of guys in the open deck industry do not want to tarp at all. So that's considered they don't want to put they don't want to put in the work, that output, right? Another thing, everybody wants to run local, which is crazy. Crazy that all of the guys want to run local. They do not want to at least run regional, right? Within at least within 800 to 1,000 miles of their house, right? At least 500 miles. Like, come on, guys. Like, y'all got to do better than that, right? You say you want to make money. You say you want to, do this business for real. Like, you got to work. You got to go to work. And what I'm seeing is, and what I've saw, remember, I dispatch trucks. I have owner operators that lease on to us, and I have drivers in my trucks, right? And one of the hardest things is to get people to go to work. If you are a new owner operator, all right, and you don't really have any money saved, but you just got your truck and you need to stack that paper up, even if you're not a new owner operator, right? Because a lot of owner operators, they don't really have money saved. They got this business, the truck breaking down, the trailer breaking down, especially around the holidays, loads are not running the way that they should be, especially if you're in the open deck industry, the open deck market, things can be very slow, right? You need to be going to work a minimum of 2 weeks, minimum. You don't need to be playing games. And if you do go home, you need to pass through the house. You do not need to be going home and sitting at home every other day. That is not, no, you need to keep the wheels rolling so you can make money every single week. You need some good deposits hitting your bank account. three, four, $5,000 a week. Okay, like seriously, right? Um, Another big thing is, um, which will be a part of the top three is sacrifice. All right, which is basically, you know, a lot of owner operators, they're short-sighted, they're looking for the short hit, and they're not long-term planning. They're not focusing on the long-term vision of their business, right? They're not looking at, where would this business be in the next 10 years minimum? 10 years minimum, not the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years. No, where would this business be for me and my family for the next 10 years minimum? 15 years, 20 years. If I do this for the next 25, 30 years, where would this business be, right? And what I see is because I've been around a lot of these guys, and I kind of done this a little bit as well in the past. But when you switch your focus from a very short-term focus to a very long-term focus, your actions is gonna change. The way that you perform is gonna change. The way that you think is gonna change. The way that you do things is gonna change. You're not gonna worry about a dip in the market this week or this month or this quarter or even this year. Okay. You're going to take advantage of the dip the same way in stocks. Let me tell you something. I forgot who that was, Rockefeller or whoever that was. He said, when they have a dip in the market, right, or when they have blood in the streets, you buy, even if it's your own blood, right? What he's saying is, anybody can look up that quote. What he's saying is, when the market goes down, you still buy. You don't run from the market when the market dips or the market tanks. You go in, you go further into the market. For example, me myself, trucking is in the toilet right now. Like it's not really good. A lot of us, I mean, some of us are making money, but a lot of us are not making really making money, not really making profits. A lot of people are shutting their doors, they're going bankrupt. They're selling off the equipment, they're resizing, they're firing people. A lot of things, a lot of bad things in the market is happening right now. But guess what? Not for everyone. There's some people that this is good. For example, me myself, I had a plan, excuse me, at the beginning of this year. I said that I wanted to pick up two more trucks this year. And I did that. Now, how did I do that? I did that by way of I knew that there were going to be some guys that was either going to be going out of business or basically the price of equipment was going to go down. I knew this, right? So that's what I did. Uh I ended the year of 20, what we in 26. So I ended 2024 with 4 trucks, I believe at the time. One of them was the international, the head gasket blew, so I sold that one. So it went down to 3, and then I got rid of another one. Then I picked up 2 more this year, just like I said I wanted to do, right? And I just bought a truck cash 3 weeks ago. The video is on my channel. Go check that video out, showing how I picked that truck up for basically $7,000, and I made my money back in a week. I got a lot of flack about that because I didn't release what was the net of that week, which I did. That video will come out either tomorrow or Tuesday, so stay tuned for that video, which I'm gonna, in that video, I go into depth about how much we paid for the truck, how much we made gross, and how much it was net after paying all expenses and everything like that. Now, to stay on topic, I knew that I have a minimum 10-year plan. Okay, 10-year, right? This is why I have a YouTube channel. This is why I have a school group. This is why I'm setting up everything that I have to go along with my 10-year plan, which is actually my short plan. I know some gonna say, well, 10 years is a long time. Not really. right? Not really when it comes to business. You know, I'm focusing on setting myself up for where in 10 years, there's certain things in the business that I don't really want to do anymore. And I also want to be making a certain amount of money. Now, how does that help me? Well, it helps me today when the market dips, I'm looking at 10 years in front of me. Okay. I'm not looking at this year. I'm looking at, oh, wow, the market is dipping. But we all know, and I've been in trucking for over 20 years, the market goes down and then it comes back up. Every single time, the same way in stocks, the market goes down and then it eventually comes back up. Period. So what did I do? I bought 2 trucks this year. Um, at the bottom of the market, I have a plan on purchasing another truck within the next 90, 3 months, 3 to 6 months, but hopefully the next 3 months. And I'm gonna keep buying them as long as they load, and we're gonna start buying trailers and et cetera, et cetera. So that's one thing that you can take advantage of the downside in the market. What is another way that you can take advantage of the downside? Well, for those of you that's looking to get those direct contracts and get with these shippers and brokers and stuff like that, guess what? Those guys that went out of business, you can fulfill those shoes, right? They have a lot of people going out of business. They have this new thing that Trump is doing, the Trump administration. We're getting rid of a lot of foreigners and stuff like that with the foreign domicile license thing and whatever like that. I know a lot of people shutting down their doors because of that. A lot of companies are hurting for drivers. So that's bringing down the capacity, all this type of stuff, right? That's going on, right? So with that being said, you guys can fulfill those shoes. I'm doing that. That's exactly what I'm doing, right? Another thing is when you do not look long term and you're looking at what looking to make some quick money or the money right now, what happens is you're not good with delayed gratification, right? And I'm seeing that a lot with money, with saving your money or putting your money to the side, right? A lot of people are taking their money, they're going on these big vacations, they're going out the country, they're buying the clothes, they're buying the nice trucks instead of buying a truck that's gonna make them money. They're buying a truck that they want to look good in. They will see a 15, 20, $25,000 Freightliner Cascadia with, let's say they got a $25,000 Freightliner Cascadia, right? And it has 200, 300,000 miles on it, right? Literally. Like you can get these type of trucks, right? Especially in the auction, $25,000, right? They have guys that will pass that truck up and they will go get a loan for a 60, 70, $80,000 Peterbilt with the same amount of miles, just because it's a 379 Pete or something like that, 389, something like that, right? Peterbilt. It has a hood on it, long nose or whatever. And the Peterbilt probably has more miles and it's probably an older truck, but they will go get that because they want a style and profile. They're not really looking at running a business. And I'm not knocking that. I'm not throwing no shade on going getting the long nose Peterbilt or the Freightliner Classic or anything like that with the hood trucks, right? I like them too, right? I don't have any, but I like 'em. Not knocking that. But when you're long term planning, okay, especially if you're looking to build a fleet, um, if you have the money and the credit to go do that, then go do that. But if you know that you have $5,000 to your name to put down on the down payment for a truck, and you go and get this note, and you know that you need to keep your note under 1,500 a month, 2,000 max a month, max. When I say max, I mean max, right? um you don't need to go get the 80, 90, $100,000 Peterbilt, right? That's going to put you in a 2,500, 3,000, 3,500, probably 4 grand a month truck note. Now you have to literally run the truck nonstop every single week and live in the truck. You can't even spend no time with your family, right? Well, that's not really long-term planning. You know what I mean? So that's something, to think about. So what do you do? 2026, write your goals down, write your plan down. And minimum, write down 10 years. Maybe you can't fill the page up with writing these goals down or writing the vision down, right? But just write down what you have. Get on ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT to help you out. Like, tell it, hey, look, I want to, just go on ChatGPT. Hey, I want to write down my vision for the next 10 years for me and my business, me and my family business is very important to me. Blah, 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 blah. Ask, can you tell me what do I need to tell you so you can help me put this together? Bam. And just start working it out, print it out, have it with you, put it on your phone to where you can look at it every day or every week or whatever like that. I mean, I have these same type of things. I've been doing this a while, and it helps me out a lot, right? So just a quick recap, right? Top regional owner operators have been going out of business and lose lost money in 2025 was because operating costs was way, way too high. What do you do about that? Get out of the vehicles or equipment if you can, if it's like a lease or anything like that. Get out of that and get into something cheaper. Or if you're just now going into buying a truck, get into something that's less than $2,000 a month for a truck, right? All in. And if you can get the insurance for that too, which is probably gonna be hard, get that, right? You know, Second thing was expectations way too high versus output. Listen, man, don't come into this business wanting something for nothing. Don't get your truck. I know a little guy, he leased onto us. He got his truck. He only been having his license for probably 2, 3 years, maybe. And all of a sudden, he got him a truck, and he just think he knows everything, right? He got his truck. He's bringing home 2,500 to 3,500, 4,000 a week, and he literally like, oh, this ain't no money, and it's like, what, dude? You just started out. You just got in the game. You only been having your license for maybe 2, max 3 years. Um, you need to be glad that you even got on with the company because he had something on his record. I'm not going to disclose that here, but and we're in a down market, and you jump straight in the game, no tarp, no nothing. Just pulling regular loads every blue moon. You pulling an oversized load, and you're bringing home $3,000 a week on average. 35, 3 to $3,500 a week. You need to be grateful. Um, and he just, no humility at all. Oh, expectations way, way, way too high versus the amount of output that he was willing to do. He wasn't willing to run over the road. He had to go home every single weekend, sometimes during the week. He didn't want to tarp, you know, um, just a lot of craziness. So don't let that be y'all, right? Next thing was too short-sighted. Please, long-term planning. Think about the long term, have a long-term vision in this business. Don't just buy a truck. I mean, hey, if you want to do that, then you do that. But I'm talking to the people that want to be in this game for a long time. They want to have them a nice, healthy, good business that's going to be able to take care of them and their families for years to come. All right. So next, we're going to get into the 2026 market predictions, my own personal predictions that I have. Um, Also by collecting a bunch of data. Once again, I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I've been through the ups and downs. I was in it when, the whole Obama deal, the market shut down. I was in it through COVID. I was in it through, the Trump deal and all that stuff, right? Listen, market goes down and then it goes right back up eventually, right? So just chill out. Yes, the market is down right now, but it will go back up. And you need to position yourself when it goes back up that you are in position. All right. Um, Beer Gut Boomer says, why not just get a good W-2 job in LTL? 1099 jobs are all a joke. Uh, Not to me, my brother. I mean, I've been working them for years. Me personally, I don't know for everybody else, but me personally, 1099 jobs has been great. I don't want to touch nothing with a W-2. Even when I did had jobs, I didn't want to touch nothing with a W-2 at all, because I want to control my money, right? Uh, 1099 jobs, you can have your 1099, get your EIN, put your money in. Once again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, definitely not your financial advisor. Everything that I'm saying is just for educational purposes only, and just my perspective, right? So with that being said, yeah, you know, things that I've done, put my money in, get an EIN for my business when I was driving a 1099 position for a company, take my money, put in a business account. And now I can show that I have a business. I can do different things with taxes. It's a lot of different things. I get business credit, business credit cards, lines of credit. You can grow a business way further than you can grow a W-2 job, way further. And the taxes is totally different. If I make 100,000 on a W-2, 20 to 30% or more is gonna go straight to taxes, and not on the 1099. I can get my tax prepper to deal with that, and I can almost keep the whole 100,000, right? Another comment: 16 years that current job in LTL, made over 130K on a W-2, doubles, triple hazmat, endorsed, got licensed in 1994, 2026 is looking good. 10-4. Company covered health insurance, 401K, match holidays and vacation. Pay steady work. Only advantage of 1099 is SEP contribution limit is 70K per year. I hear you, my brother. I mean, that's not really what I mean. I hear you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm talking on operators and lease drivers, not really company drivers. So, hey, not knocking you, bro. I mean, that wasn't for me. Um, and some guys want to own a truck and want to have a business that they can leave to their family. One thing that that W-2, one thing that I can guarantee you, you cannot leave that W-2 to your family. We can leave a trucking business to our family. We can put a driver in the trucks, and if our family knows how to dispatch or even just knows how to hire a dispatcher, the trucks can keep rolling, and you can have a system up to set up to where that trucking business can take care of your family for years to come if something happened to you. Yes, on a W-2, you can have a 401K set up and all these type of things. But once again, the 1099 with owning my own trucks and owning my own business is the way that I decided to go. But definitely not knocking you, my brother. Thanks for the comment. So to get back on track, my 2026 market predictions that I have from going through this thank you, brother. Best of luck to you too as well. So that I have my 2026 market predictions that I have is that markets, if you're owner operator and you're in the once again, we're talking to owner operators and freight dispatchers in the spot market freight. Um, if that's you, if you're in a market that is utilizing high AI, okay, and you're not one of them, right? Whether you're a freight dispatcher or you have a trucking business or your own operator, if you're in that market and you're not leveraging AI, a lot of AI in your business, then yes, you have something to worry about. And those markets are going to get very tight. What do I mean? Let's say the dry van market, right? Well, the dry van market, they have tools now. They have them for the open deck market as well, but they're just not using them as much as they're using them in the dry van and reefer market. They have tools that can search the low AI tools that can search the load board and also book loads. It literally can call, search the load board and call a broker and negotiate with the broker for the load. This is a dispatcher on the carrier side. Okay. Now, you also have AI on the broker side that when they put it, I know this because I have my broker license as well. So I'm telling you things that I know. Not something that I'm guessing. This is data. I have friends that's brokers. I have friends that have their own, you know, authorities with, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 trucks. You understand what I'm saying? Um, I have friends that work at Landstar. Like I'm a part of a community of truckers and brokers. So I'm telling you, this is real, and these are things that I'm experiencing myself. So the one of the things is when you on the broker side, they have AI that will post a load, that will answer the phone when you call up on the load, and it will negotiate the load. You understand what I'm saying? So, what does that mean for you as a carrier? Well, if you're calling up on these loads and your MC is something's a little wrong with it. And when you call up on this load, you give the robot, the AI, the MC. It's going to automatically tell you, oh, something's not right. Get with our compliance department, and it's going to hang up in your face. Let's say you want to get paid 1,300 for a load that's posted for 1,000. Well, the robot is going to tell you that they're not going to give you 1,300. Okay, it's already set. They already set the robot to not go over a certain point. Let's say they set it to not go over 1,050, 1,075. You're going back with the robot. You're telling them, hey, you want 13. It's telling you, how about 1,025 or whatever, whatever. All this craziness, right? Okay. With that being said, the robot is not going to go over that. What happens is, can you get on the phone with a live person? Yes, you can, but they have it set to not get on the phone with a live person unless certain things happen. Now, if you're in a market like that, which is drive-ins, reefer, or even flatbed, some flatbed loads that's just general freight, legal load, 48,000 pounds, tarp, no tarp, right? They'll have these robots set up. If that's the case, the you're trying to hit the buttons and tell it and talk crazy to it, and you're fighting with this robot trying to get to someone on the phone and give you 1,300 versus 1,000, right? Because you want more money, but yet the other carriers or owner operators that's calling in, they're not going to do that. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to take the 1,025 or the 1,050. They're going to book the load. Robot gave them the load. They're gone, and then the robot's going to come and tell you, "Oh, this load is no longer available." Right? This is what I'm seeing. This is happening right now. Um, in real life, real time. Okay, how do you combat that? How do you get with that, right? Those markets are not gonna, the money's not gonna really rise. It's gonna ease up just because the mark, the economy is gonna go up, in my opinion, 2026 for sure, and a couple years to come. So it's gonna ease on up, but it's not gonna really ride the wave like it should and shoot back up where we need to be when it comes down to those dry vans and reefers and stuff like that, just general freight, um, you know, and all, especially with box trucks and stuff like that. Well, how do you combat that? Well, one, you get out of those markets, right? You come into the open deck, right? And when you get into the open deck, you get into specialized hauling. What does that do? If I call up on a load and it's an oversized load, there's not going to be a robot that's going to talk to me. You get what I'm saying? A robot is not going to talk to me. A robot can't tell me that it's looking for a low boy that's 18 inches off the ground versus 2 feet off the ground because that extra, you know, them extra couple inches is gonna make the load go over 1510 in Louisiana. And if it go over 15 foot, 10 inches tall in Louisiana, it's gonna make it need a height pole versus not need a height pole. And if it needs a height pole, now it's gonna be extra $1,000. You get what I'm saying? An AI robot's not gonna be able to do that. A person has to get on the phone, right? So me and people that's in that market with that specialized freight, right? Oversized loads, right? Even hazmat loads, tanker loads, stuff like that. They're gonna bypass that AI a lot, right? Why? Because those people have to get on the phone. This is gonna help out on operators a lot. Okay, this is going to help freight dispatchers a lot because a lot of freight dispatchers, they do not know how to negotiate these type of loads. Okay, they only know how to negotiate general freight, tarp no tarp, 48,000 pounds, load and go. That's it, right? Nothing crazy, you know. Hey, it's 250, 270, 280 a mile, going 1,000 miles, whatever, right? Well, if, the robot can do that. And if I'm a broker, why would I sit on the phone with you? Excuse me. Why would I sit on the phone with you to negotiate loads when I can just put my robot, set it, forget it, be done with it, and it can talk to you? Why would I do that? So you got to think like that, right? So you have to be more creative as a freight dispatcher. You have to be more creative as an owner operator. You have to, dig into your creative space and be more creative. Spend a little bit more money, get a different trailer, right? Get you some exercise and start jumping out the truck to where you can strap down loads, pull tarps, do oversize, do these type of things instead of just going close the back of a dry van. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, if the dry vans and the reefers was making a lot of money, I would pull them too, right? I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying you want to separate yourself from the rest in 2026. This is how you do it. You understand what I'm saying? Start hauling you some specialized freight. The robots cannot negotiate uh specialized loads. They cannot they don't know the routes. A lot of brokers will talk to you and they will ask you, "Hey, look, this load is 14 wide, it is 15, it is 13, 14 tall." And they're gonna ask you, "Hey, how tall is your trailer?" Right? You're gonna say "Oh, my trailer's 2 foot off the ground," right? They might say, "Nah, man, I'm looking for a trailer, 18 inches," right? Let's say you have a step deck. They might say, "Hey, do you have a low profile step deck or do you have a standard step deck?" Right? They might say, "Hey, this load is 55, 60,000 pounds. Do you have a step deck, a two axle step deck or a three axle step deck?" The AI robot is not going to do that. But if you pull in the drive van, or you pull in a reefer, it will say, "Hey, we have a load going from Atlanta, Georgia to Houston, Texas. It weighs 40,000 pounds. It has 20 pallets. It picks up at 8 a.m. in the morning, appointment base, and it delivers 8 a.m. or 9 p.m. the next day in Houston, Texas, appointment base. We're offering $1,500 for the load, right? Would you like it or not?" And you have to basically just say, "Yes, I want it," or "No, I don't." If you say, "Well, I want 1,800," it'll say, "Let me check that for you." Do-do-do-do-do-do. All we're giving is $1,700 or whatever. You get what I'm saying? And some of these robots, they really sound like a person. I know some of you, if y'all booking your own loads, y'all talk to them and you thought that that was a real person the whole while it was a robot, right? Like they're getting really good. Do I believe one day that they're going to be able to negotiate the oversized and heavy haul loads and all that? Maybe, I don't know, it ain't gonna be in 2026. I know that. We'll talk about that in 2027 or 28 or whatever. So, um, definitely, 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 if you're an own operator or you have less than, 5, 10 trucks, right? You definitely want to change the mark, get into markets that AI is just not gonna take over when it comes to the load boards and stuff like that. Another thing is you want to, you know, get you some direct customers. You want to get you, and these direct customers can be shippers and brokers. A lot of owner operators, for some reason, they have issue with brokers. They want to beef with brokers. They don't want to get along with brokers. Listen, a broker basically works for you. They are doing all of the marketing, they're doing all of the emailing, all of the promoting on LinkedIn, they're doing all of the cold calling, they're doing all the negotiating, they're doing all of that so you don't have to do it. And if they have a lane that's a consistent lane that the broker got, and you can tell them, hey, look, basically, you did all that, you got it. I did everything I needed to do to get the truck and the trailer. Let's work out a deal. I'm gonna haul this lane for you consistent. You pay me this. If y'all can come to an agreement of a good amount of pay that's fair, right? Then that's a great relationship, right? You don't have to look on the load board every day. You can just get your loads from him and run consistent with that. All right. So next thing is the the that I believe that a lot of guys in the industry, whether you're a own operator, freight dispatch, or even a broker, a lot of people are discounting in the time to come. And I'm serious with this one. This is a very, very, very big one that a lot of guys are not paying attention to and they're not doing. This is something that I slipped on in 2025 and 2024. But in 2026, I will be going extra hard with this, uh, which is getting your digital footprint, your digital brand, right? What do I mean by that? Every owner operator needs a YouTube channel. Seriously. I know I only have a couple thousand subscribers. I don't have nowhere near what a lot of other guys have, mainly because I don't really do a lot of vlogs. I do a lot of teaching, and a lot of people are not interested in, teaching content like that. They're they're more interested in being entertained, right? Which it is what it is. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I do this for you guys, so it doesn't matter if it's one person gonna watch the video, 1,000 people gonna watch the video. It doesn't matter to me, right? But getting that digital footprint. Why is this very, very, very important, right? Well, one, as an owner operator, you have content. You have content showing your trucks or your truck. You have content strapping and securing your loads down, tarping your loads, right? You have content, whether it's videos or even pictures, right? uh, Preferably videos. You are recording this content and they're seeing that you have good securement jobs. You're securing the loads good. You are strapping the loads down good. You're tarping loads good. That you actually know what you're doing. You're a real person and you do this for real. Guess what? That's going to help you when you go after these direct shippers. You want to do that. You understand what I'm saying? When you go after these direct shippers and you talk to that procurement manager, that operations manager, that warehouse manager, what do you think he's going to do or she's going to do? They're going to look you up. How they going to look you up? They're going to look you up on LinkedIn first. So you definitely want a LinkedIn profile, right? I have one. I need to start, posting to it way more than I do now, right? But they're gonna look you up on LinkedIn. They're gonna look you up on Instagram, Facebook, all these type of things. When they look you up, you want them to go straight to your content, right? You want to be professional. You don't want to be cursing and using this crazy language in your content. Yes, I know some of us we get comfortable and we kind of make this content for us, but this is business, right? You want to make, you some good content, be you, right? I'm me in my content. I'm not trying to be no one else. I'm being me, right? People that watch my content, they connect with me. They want to, check me out. You know what I mean? So be you, but understand that they're gonna go look you up. And when they look you up, they're gonna say, oh man, this guy is professional. This lady's professional. Oh man, they actually take good care of the equipment. Oh man, they're not. talking crazy about shippers and receivers and, brokers and stuff like that. They're a business person. um, yeah, let's go on ahead and give them this contract. You know, uh, yeah, let's go on ahead and ask them, do they actually want to do like a little commercial, a promotion to our product or whatever it is, right? You might be hauling Caterpillar dozers or excavators or something. They might have ran across your content or something. They might say, "Hey, look, we see that you have content and that making videos, hauling equipment. Would you mind sending us some of your videos to where we can cut it up and we can put it on our website?" Stuff like that. I'm telling you. Why am I telling you this? Because I went through this. I'm telling you this because I do this for real. Very, very important to get that content. If you're a freight dispatcher, you want that content because guess what? When a owner operator come along and they want to hire you to be a dispatcher, they want to know if you actually know what you're doing. Well, how do they know that? They're gonna look you up or you're gonna send them a link to your content. When you do that, guess what? It's going to show them, hey, I actually know what I'm doing. Go watch my content where I actually book loads like this in real life. If you have, if you're a broker, right? This is something that I used to do, right? You get all of your owner operators to send you pictures of the loads. And when they send you pictures of the loads, you can post these pictures on LinkedIn. So when these shippers see that you actually moving loads in real life, they're not like, oh, he don't know what he's doing or she don't know what he's doing. No, they actually seeing on your YouTube, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, you actually do this in real life. That's just for proof of concept and to build a brand in the business. We're not even talking about, a legacy piece and leaving content behind for your family and your kids and something that, everybody can like sit down and watch on TV. You might be a father, and you have children, and you're making your content in your trucks and driving trucks and stuff like that. The kids love that. They love to watch that. The wife loves to watch that. Like it's just a great thing to do. I encourage everybody to do that in 2026. And if your content is really good, YouTube will pay you. I've been having a YouTube channel for going on 2 years now. I'm just now about to get my first payment. I think it said it's like 130 or something like that. I don't do YouTube to get paid from, monetization on YouTube at all. My business model is something different, but hey, maybe it's a business model for you, right? So definitely don't slip on that. Make you some content in 2026. So let's go in the comment section. Let's see what we got. Uh Saying hype says, I don't like AI because you can't negotiate fully with a robot. It's either you take what it offers or move to the next. Yeah, man. I just was saying that, like that's where and anybody got any questions, put them in the comment. I'll answer them while we on for the last couple minutes as we close up. I'll get to the questions. But yeah, like I said, you can't negotiate with the robot. And when you're doing regular general freight, this is what happens. This is what you're gonna have to deal with. Seriously. So once again, my advice is swap over, get to specialized freight so you don't have to deal with that type of stuff, right? D1629, that's a cool name. Says peace and blessings. Just started watching your channel. Looking forward to speaking with you in the near future. For sure, brother. That'll work. Just like I said, hit the link. Let me go on ahead and drop the link as a pinned comment to the school group. Like I said, the school group is free now. I opened it up. It's free for everyone. Like I said, we do a if you got any questions, you can come in the school group. Just like I said, it's free. Just come on in. Come right in. If you got any questions, you want to talk about something, maybe you're looking for a truck, and you need some advice on how to get a truck. I had a brother text me the other day, he needed some help, or he hit me up on Instagram. He needs some help on, just going over a truck he wanted to buy. Maybe you're a freight dispatcher and you need some help with that, right? Whatever like that, or maybe on operating, you already got your truck and you're just not looking to get in the game. You need some help with some things, or you want to learn. Like I said, we have a free version. Just come on in the community, post your questions. I'll get to it, or me and one of the admins. I got some help now, some great help to help me with the school group. I kind of fell back off it in the past because I was doing a lot, I'm dispatching, driving, I'm running my business, I got school. It's a lot. So we have some online training, some modules so you can learn how to dispatch, you can learn about permits, learn how to buy your first truck, things like this, how much you should be paying for trucks, stuff like that. Also, we do a once a week a live Q&A, which right now is on Sundays. You can come on there, ask questions, or bring your whole business model to the live coaching section, and we'll go over your entire business. And we will not get off the call until we are done, right? So let me post the link to the chat. I'm gonna post it right now, and let's see if I can pin it. All right. All right. So I just pinned it to the top. So go on ahead and check that out. And if anyone got any more questions, let's go on ahead and get to that. And also the link to the school group is in the description as well. Okay. If anyone else don't have any more questions, we're gonna close out for the night. So with that being said, listen, man, 2026 is gonna be great to a lot of people who is actually gonna take advantage. Go all in, stop playing. Don't be, the Bible says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Don't be that double-minded man. Don't be halfway in, halfway out. Go all in, lock in, lock in, lock in. Go all in and do everything that you have to do so your trucking business can be prosperous. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna let y'all go. Peace, peace, shalom, shalom.